Hello, Princess on a Pillow here. I am here to do a review slash recap with my opinion on Married at First Sight, Season 14, Episode 15, titled Past Lives, Opened Minds. Let's get started. First couple is Jasmina and Michael. Jasmina and Michael are driving back from the retreat and they are discussing the medium. Michael is telling Jasmina about the death of his brother, and Jasmina also talked about the twins the medium claimed she's going to have. The next scene, they go to Jasmina's childhood home. She reminisced about growing up in the house. Then they drove to the nursing home. They drove by the nursing home that she used to volunteer at. She showed Michael her school. Then Jasmina read a very touching letter that she wrote to her younger self. It was very emotional. She was crying, Michael was crying, I was crying. And then Michael gave her a hug and he told her he is proud of her. I know that they're going to say no on decision day, but I hope they stay friends. Next scene, Michael brings Jasmina to the house he grew up in and he reminisced on the times with his mother. Then he took her to the park that him and his brother used to go to. Then he read the letter he wrote to his younger self. Jasmina and Michael had a little talk about they had a little talk, but there's still no romance between them. Next scene, the doctor comes to visit, and Jasmina told the doctor that her and Michael has not had any conflicts since the couple yoga. The doctor tells Jasmina that she seems softer. Jasmina told the doctor that at first she felt that she had to pull teeth in order to get Michael to open up, but now he opens up on his own. Michael told the doctor that at first it was hard for him to open up, but now it comes naturally. They talked about having kids. Then the doctor asked them about trying now to have kids. And Jasmina told the doctor that they are not physical with each other. Jasmina said that she does not have the urge to be physical with Michael. Michael said to the cameras that it's hard to hear that she doesn't have the physical urge for him and he can't force it, so it's up to her. The doctor told them to hold hands more and to cuddle. That's the end of Jasmina and Michael. Pretty boring. Next is Katina and Elijah Wan. Elijah Wan and Katina are in the apartment and look like they're preparing for bed. Katina is in bed and Elijah Wan is brushing his teeth. And they're talking about taking more trips together. In her confessional, Katina mentioned running with the sheep. Katina didn't run with the sheep. Katina ran with the alpaca. She also says she is thankful for her future baby daddy, which I'm assuming is Elijah Wan. She said he makes her feel like a superwoman. I don't know how, but that's what she said. In his confessional, Elijah Wan is worried about having kids in 2 years and sacrificing traveling. He is also worried that Katina wouldn't satisfy him. The nerve. The nerve. For one, okay, Elijah's worries are nothing but bull. Okay? Saying that you want to have kids in 2 years, it's just throwing out a number. It's just a number. You can say kids, I want kids in 2 years, but don't have them for 3 more years, 4 more years, 5 more years. It's just a number. It's not saying because I say I want kids in 2 years, yes, I definitely got to have kids in 2 years. No, it's just a number you throw out there. So I don't know why he's harping on these 2 years. Traveling. Elijah Wan is not the type of person that travels. He looks like the type of person that stay around people who he's comfortable with. He's what, almost 30 years old and he hasn't traveled yet? So when is he going to start traveling? Traveling is not an important thing to him, so he needs to stop with that. He's not the type of person to go traveling. And then he's worried about Katina not satisfying him. Nobody can satisfy Elijah Wan. He's a miserable son of a gun. Nobody can satisfy that man. He's miserable. Okay? That's what I think about Elijah Wan. You need to get out of here and go sit in a corner somewhere with a friggin' pacifier. Anyway, the next scene. Elijah Wan takes Katina to the neighborhood where he grew up, which was the projects with a single mom. And he said that there was his three brothers and two sisters. Then he said it was 4 people living in a 2-bedroom. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus him and his mother make 7. So why was he saying it was a 4 people living in a 2-bedroom? I count 7 people. Anywho, maybe he didn't pass math. He said he went to college. Maybe he didn't do math in college. I don't know. But he can't count. If he's saying he grew up with 3 brothers, 2 sisters, and it was him and his mom, that's 7 people altogether. Then he said 4 people living in a 2-bedroom. I don't know. Anyway, he said it was tough growing up in the projects, and that's what made him who he is. And that's why he is hard and tough on Katina. I know people that grew up in projects. I lived a few blocks away from the projects, and nobody I know acts the way he does. So don't blame it on growing up in the projects. You being an asshole in growing up in the projects. So what is he talking about? He said he grew up to be this hard and rough, and he's basically saying he grew up to be an asshole because he grew up in the projects. Better get out my face with that one. I think a female hurt the hell out of him, and that's why he's so rude and mean to women, because some female crushed him. And that's what, I don't think it has anything to do with his growing up, because he grew up with his brother. He showed Katina how he was playing ball in the streets and having a good old time. His growing up didn't have anything to do with the way he is now. Some girl hurt him, and he can't get over it, and he'll never get over it. That's why he's so rude and disrespectful. That's why he treats women like crap. And he's saying that's how he was raised, to be this rude and disrespectful. No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that's not true. He's a total asshole. I'm pretty sure he wasn't raised to be an asshole. And he didn't even complete the assignment. He didn't write to himself when he was a child. But that's okay. I'm over that. I think Elijah Wan needs help. He needs to get some help quick. But I do like that sweater he's wearing, though. It's kind of cute. I like it. Anyway, the next scene. Katina brings Elijah Wan to the church where she grew up. And she reminisced about good and bad, but mostly good times. The next scene, the doctor visits Katina and Elijah Wan. If I was the doctor, I wouldn't go nowhere near that idiot, Elijah Wan, because of the way he treated her the last time. I wouldn't go near that fool. And when she walks into the apartment, he's sitting down. He didn't get up and greet her or nothing. He just sat his ass there. That's so rude. Maybe he did it and the camera didn't show us, but I'm going by what I saw. He just sat his ass there, didn't get up, didn't greet her. He's a total jerk. Okay? Total jerk. His behavior is trifling. So Elijah Wan claims that him and Katina are doing better. He says whenever they argue, they squash it right away. He says he'll tell her, shut up. Then he'll go in the bathroom, do pee, come out and say, I'm sorry. Such an idiot. Then he brings up Katina not finishing school in 2 years and wanting kids. He's such a jerk. Such a jerk. 2 years is not written in stone. You can have kids 3 years, 4 years. It's not freaking written in stone, idiot. I love Katina this moment. I really can't stand Katina, but I like it that she spoke up. Katina said Elijah 1 requires more attention than normal people. She didn't say normal people, but I'm just throwing that out there because that's what she meant to say. And he's a lot to deal with, and it can be draining. Thank you, Katina, for saying that with the friggin' bags under your eyes. We can see that he's draining the life out of you, girl. We can see it, okay? Thank you for admitting it. Elijah 1 talks to the camera, and he gets emotional with some tears. And he says if he were Katina, he would stop seeing him. He would, break up or say no on decision day and finish school and then get back with him. I think she should do that, but not the last part. Don't get back with him. That's the end of Katina and Elijah 1. Moving on to Lindsay and Mark. Lindsay is talking to the camera. She is wearing some long ass eyelashes. They're just really long. They look cute though. They kind of look good on her. She's saying that Mark is complaining that she is too much. And these are her words, not his words. She says he's complaining that she's too loving, she's too giving, she's too caring, and she's too energetic. These are Lindsay's words, not Mark's words. So then they show a clip of Mark and Lindsay sitting on the couch. And Mark is bitching away at Lindsay. He's saying he tells her she is too much and he doesn't find it enjoyable. He told her he does not want her pinching him every 10 seconds. So she pinches him? I'm pretty sure it's not a hard pinch. It's probably a light pinch. But I wouldn't want anybody pinching me either. So I'm with him there. I don't like Mark, but I'm with him. I wouldn't want anybody pinching me. He says he doesn't want his ear licked. I would not want my ear licked either. For one thing, it sounds horrible. It sounds horrible. And then you're left with a wet ear. That doesn't feel good. It's not comfortable. So I wouldn't want anybody licking my hair either. Then he tells her she's hyper. And he knows she doesn't like that word, hyper. She got mad at him the last time he said that. She told him it was rude, but he's calling her hyper again. So we know now that Mark does not like his ear licked. He does not like being pinched. And he also does not like PDA, public display of affection. He does not like that. So she needs to either dump Mark and find someone who doesn't mind all these things, or change her behavior and stay with him. That's what she needs to do. She needs to make that decision. Next scene, the doctor comes to visit, and Mark tells the doctor that he cannot be affectionate if they're always arguing. I call bull on that. Mark is never, ever affectionate with Lindsay. Whether he's happy, sad, he's never, ever affectionate with her. Mark says the word hyper triggers Lindsay. If you know that the word hyper triggers her, then stop saying it. You've said it about 3 times now, and she done told you she didn't like it. So then the doctor told him that the word hyper is not a compliment. She's telling you too, don't say it. If Lindsay's telling you she don't like it, don't say it. The doctor told him that the word hyper is not a compliment. And that just shut him up. It shut his ass up. The doctor asked him, what is hyper? Mark says Lindsay wants to wrestle. She wants to bite him. She wants to lick his neck. She's pinching him. He tells her to stop, and it's too much. But she's doing it in a playful way. The doctor asks Lindsay if she doesn't stop when Mark asks her to stop. And she says, he doesn't actually tell me to stop. He doesn't really tell her to stop. He tells her to stop in a playful way. And he says, no, that's not true. I tell you to stop. And then, of course, they show a clip of Mark saying, no, oh, stop. Ooh, stop. Because we've seen him do that. He doesn't say, listen, don't do that. I don't like that. Don't do that. Don't, come on, stop it. He's like, oh, no, stop it, Hugh. And laughing and giggling and talking about, stop. So she thinks he likes it. He's a freaking liar. Talking about, I didn't do that. Yeah, you did. We see it all the time. And the doctor asked them if they can talk to each other, and Lindsay said no. She goes in on how Mark tries to justify the hurtful things that he says to her. Lindsay saying Mark doesn't care. And the doctor says, have you asked him? And she said she doesn't want to hear his answer. These two are just not compatible and they need to go their separate ways. That's what I think. But anyway, Lindsay asks Mark if he cares what he says to her. And he says yes. And of course he's going to say yes. He's not going to say no. Well, of course he's going to say yes in front of the doctor. Of course he's going to say yes. And then Mark says he doesn't do anything deliberately to hurt her. Bull, bull, bull. I call bull on that. I think he deliberately treats her badly in front of the other couples. He deliberately treats her badly. She tried to touch him and he moves over like this. Whenever they're with the other couple, he treats her like crap. Deliberately. And then he called her hyper twice when he knows she doesn't like to be called hyper. He deliberately gets on her nerves, try to get on her nerves. He deliberately does that. But they talk and they talk and they talk. And Mark said to let him do baby steps. Whatever. And that's where they left it. The next scene, Lindsay and Mark's kitty is wrapped up in a blanket. Lindsay has Mark's kitty wrapped up in a blanket. And it's sad. Something is wrong with the kitty's eye. And then they're taking him to the vet. And it turns out that he not only has a sore eye, but he has sores on his back. Poor baby. I'm a cat lover, so I feel bad for that poor kitty. And Lindsay is at the vet and with Mark and the cat, and she's being very supportive and loving to both Mark and the cat. That poor sweet cat. Oh, poor baby. I wonder what happened, but they never ever mentioned what happened. The next scene, Lindsay takes Mark to the woods because when she was growing up, she loved the woods. And she talked about how she didn't enjoy being at home. Then she read her letter to her younger self, to Mark. Her letter was good, but she made a dig at Mark in her letter. Yes, she did. She said, people will tell you you are too much. And that's what Mark tells her. That was a dig, but I'm not mad at it because, hey, that's what he keeps telling her. She said she would tell her younger self that, but people will tell you that. But Mark was nice to her. He said, after she read a letter, he was nice to her. He said some nice words to her. He hugged her. He held her hands. And he was very playful with her. So he was nice to her. I was surprised at that. The next scene, Mark is showing Lindsay the area where he grew up. He showed her his high school, the funeral home where they had his father when his father died. And they went to his childhood home where he reminisced on his childhood. Mark read the letter he wrote to his younger self. He read it to Lindsay, and he got emotional, and Lindsay comforted him. His letter was mostly about cherishing his parents. And then Mark said he would love to live in his old house. And Lindsay said no, she don't want to do that. And that was the end of Lindsay and Mark. Last but not least, Steve and Noy. Steve brings Noy to his childhood home where his family still lives. His mom still lives there. It's a nice house with a back and front driveway. That's nice. And a separate entrance to the basement where he said he used to have parties. Steve showed Noy his yearbook and his family photo album, and then he played some cheesy song that he wrote and sang. And I would say don't quit your day job, but he already did. That's me throwing shade, okay? Anyway, next scene, Steve and Noy, they go to a dance studio, and they're dancing, and they're both doing well. And I'm impressed that Steve took it seriously and did such a good job. Because it seems to be Noy's thing, because she loves to dance and sing. So after the dance class, they sit down and talk about Noy's growing up and how much she enjoyed dancing and singing. The next scene, Steve and Noy are in their apartment, and Noy reads her letter to her younger self, to Steve. And it was nice. It was like she was apologizing to herself for the things that wasn't pleasing to her while growing up. And then accepting herself for who she is now. It was a nice letter. So Steve gave her a hug and she talked more about her life growing up and how and then she got emotional. She got very emotional. Started crying and everything. Next, Steve and Noi are practicing their dance and then the doctor shows up. Noi talks about how she copes with her feelings, and they talk about Noi living separately from Steve. And then the doctor said that she lives separately from her husband. And Noi's overjoyed. That's kind of weird to live separately. But Noi and Steve, they didn't do a traditional meet up where they meet each other, date each other, and got married. So I think she should live separately from him. If he's not, being the husband she wants him to be, I think she should live separately from him until he gets his act together. I don't think she should live with him until he decides, I'm not going to work and I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom, commit himself to being a stay-at-home housewife, a house husband. He should either go to work or commit himself to being a house husband. He can't do both. It seems like he wants to stay at home, not work, but don't want to be a house husband. So what do you want to be? It's like a woman is married and she's not working, and she doesn't want to be a housewife. Then what is she doing? That's Steve right there. You don't want to be a house husband, but you don't want to work. So what do you want to do? What do you want to be? So I don't think she should live with him until he decides exactly what it is he wants to do. What is your role in this relationship? You're just there, cooking noodles whenever the hell you feel like it? Right. So that was the end of Noi and Steve. And this is the end of my review. I will be back next week with another review. Thank you so much for watching. Princess on a Pillow here. Bye.